We typically fly at Manville, and so this is a 2-meter glider. It weighs 28 ounces right now, which is about 800 grams to do the conversion. And this model actually was called an Electra. It was made by Carl Goldberg. It was kitted by them. It was kitted in a day that they didn't have brushless motors and they didn't have lipos. So you can see on the bottom, they had this huge bay for nickel-cadmium batteries. Usually we ran 8 to 10 cells in it. So I've converted this to a brushless system that runs lipos, and I was actually planning to, if I have time, I'll send Scott an article to talk about how to change over any glider, because you can find a lot of these gliders available, but there's not many these days that really have powered systems on them. So if anybody has any questions about it, I'll be glad to answer them. But I just wanted to give people an idea of what we fly. It's nothing fancy, only elevator and rudder. What we typically do and what a typical glider contest is, it can vary a little bit, but the typical one is you have a certain duration of climb. So we power these things this one's about a 2.3 thrust to weight ratio. So I can get up probably about 350, 400 feet in about 5 to 10 seconds. And then we have to shut off the motor. You have some time period, and that gets adjusted sometimes. And Ernie and I have been talking about the contest, how we might do this to make an advantage for a glider that doesn't have a lot of horsepower. And then you sit there and you try to glide it and find thermals. The typical contest then, because you might hit a thermal and can be up for hours if you get lucky. It's not that sometimes in a good day when there's good thermals out there, it's simple to find a thermal. And other days it can be impossible to find a thermal. So we limit it to a 10-minute run, meaning that after you have the 30-second or 15-second motor climb, you try to stay up in the air for 10 minutes, and exactly 10 minutes. So for every second you get over or under the 10 minutes, you get deducted, and there's also a spot landing with it. So that's the typical, and then there's variations of that, but that's your typical glider, basic glider contest. And they do it, they put the 10-minute limitation so that you can do a contest and have everybody participate. And they try to get it so that you get some decent height, but you don't go skyrocketing high. So that's one of the things, when I first built this and I didn't know much about gliders, I would run the plane at quarter throttle and putsy around the field and turn left and right, and that was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. But I didn't realize that at the time, this was 20, 30 years ago, that there was actually a skill in just going up and trying to keep it a high, in the air with thermals or good air. So I think Ernie's going to talk about that now. So any questions about this before?
Yeah, Kurt, the 10-minute time frame, do you know, do they announce the time?
They announce it, yes. They tell you, it's not a secret, right? It's, you can even have a guy count down, 9 minutes and 30 seconds. A lot of times, if it's not good air, you might not make you might only be up for, 3-4 minutes. This glider, typically, 300 feet, 400 feet, if what I call as best I see, dead air, meaning it's not downdraft, it's not updraft, probably about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3, depending on how buoyant the air is. If I can find a thermal, I can be up for hours if I want to, but my neck gets sore. I don't fly that long. And if you hit bad air, I've gone up sometimes 300 feet and caught some bad air, and I'm down in like 40 seconds. It's crazy, right? So you really start to get an appreciation of the air quality, and it's a whole science that I think Ernie's going to talk a little bit about, just broach the subject on. Of thermals and the challenges with it. So I think a lot of RC guys at first think, oh, gliders are so simple. And yeah, they're simple to fly. They're not that hard to fly. They're very easy to fly. They're a great beginner model. But to actually fly thermals and then to try to get this thing down and on a spot you know, within a space. Now piloting skills and new skills come up that in the last few years I've found very challenging and interesting. So, well, the other thing I wanted to mention, if you build one of these, you notice this has got a folding prop. It's amazing how much energy gets eaten up if you don't have a folding prop. So a folding prop, and these aren't too bad. All the gear, I think I paid like $13 for the motor. I paid like $14 for the speed controller and like $3 for the prop and $2 for a spinner or something like that, all from Value Hobbies in Addison. And in this article that I'm hoping to write out, put that all in if people are interested in it. So even if you have a glider that maybe, you know, you towed up or something and you want to put a power system on it, you could do that, and you could come to this inter club contest. So, and there's a lot of people. This general model. Ernie's got one. Doesn't look exactly like this. And Doug Penny has one, and I think Steve Thrill has one now, right? There's a lot of people that fly this particular model.
Quite a few. And they range, what we fly is anywhere between like 1.5 and 2.5 meter.
Yeah.
How many cells on the battery?
Pardon?
How many cells?
Oh, I'm running a 3-cell system on this, 3 cells. And, you know, since you're only going for like 10, 15 seconds, you don't need a lot of you know. If I have a light day, if it's a light wind day, I'll run probably an 800 milliamp pack, 800 milliamp hours. If I have a windy day, I'll go up to maybe 1300, maybe 2000, I think it's 2200 is another, but they're all 3-cell packs. But that's really a function of, and I'll try to talk about this in the article, all the motors have what they call a KV, okay? And a KV time is basically what it's telling you is what the RPM is of the motor unloaded per volt. So you take the KV and multiply by whatever battery cells you want. If you're running a 2-cell pack, you multiply by 8.4 basically. If you want a 4-cell pack or 3-cell pack, you're running multiplied by 12.6. And that will roughly give you your RPM. It'll give you your maximum RPM. And in general, you know, very rough, usually you load the motor down about 20 or to about 80% of that value. So this prop here right now turns about 12,000. So this is a 1200 kV.
So when you have a contest though, do you equalize the cells that people can use?
We don't restrict people on how many cells they want to run. They can run as many as they want. In the contest that we have, we won't tell them, oh, they got to run 3 cells or 4 cells, whatever they want to run. And what Ernie's thinking about, and I think he's made a little device that we haven't tested out yet, I think he's done some preliminary tests on, is we'll measure is actually the thruster that the model will have.
Thrust
And
to weight ratio.
right, and then we will scale your time depending on that thrust to sort of get rid of the fact that one guy might putsy up there and another guy might get up there in 2 seconds, right? That will level out the playing field more and make it into who can really find good air, good glide, and then, you know, sort of a time thing of landing when you want to land in a 10-minute frame, and also getting close to a spot. So, that's all I had, unless there's any questions, other questions. Yeah, Bob?
Yeah, so the model you have there, you said a couple people have a similar.
Yeah.
Is that anything you can still buy, or is that something you gotta?
Actually, it is. The Gentle Lady is still available from Tower Hobbies. I think Doug just bought one last year or the year before for $50 or something.
Yeah.
You know, but it's obviously there's a lot of gluing involved.
Right, yeah.
Jigging and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But you can still get basically that same model.
Right.
And
So-
actually, the Gentle Lady was out first. This is the electric came out afterwards with the electric motor. The Gentle Lady did not have.
Did not have an electric motor, okay?
It was
And,
just
and this was called electric, still, both of them were kitted by Carl Goldberg Manufacturing, which is out of Chicago and is long gone, but I think there's some somebody bought the name and I think they sell some stuff, but I'm not sure. I haven't really kept track of it, but as Ernie says, there's a lot of aftermarket stuff. I think the one Doug bought actually was still 4 motor, so it was really not a Gentle Lady, it was more of an electric, wasn't it? Or did he put the motor in? I'm not sure. I thought it had, you know, but these are, it's what they call, I call it a Clark Y airfoil flat bottom, slight what we call upsweep, with a high point sort of about 30% back. It's a very strong wing. This, you know, very simple, and everybody likes this. Now, if you want to just go buy something, Horizon sells a thing called, a glider called the Radian, that's all foam.
Now you gotta get the night rate.
Yeah, it's not a bad glider, but it typically does not fly as nice as this. I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah,
But if
I'm
you,
buying that one, but I don't know much about it.
right, yeah, and let's, probably a really good guy that can know fine thermals can probably win with a Radian if you have another guy that's flying a nicer model like a Gentle Lady or even something nicer than this, and doesn't know thermals, okay? It's really, like I said, it turns out the model doesn't hurt, but it's not the whole name of the game. There's lots of other things. Yes?
You know, I have this guy gave me a whole bunch of stuff, and I had these plans that were rolled up. I'm like, what the heck is in these plans? And there's a whole bunch of wood inside of it. I opened it up. It looks almost like this one.
Yeah, it might be.
You know, I need your phone number, and if I can send you a text. I don't know nothing about gliders. I like to get into it, but I need to kind of like do what you're doing, just talking to people more about it. I got 5 of them.
Oh.
They're brand new, and
Well,
it's
you got
wrapped
5 of
up.
them, you just gotta figure out the wingspan, and, I mean, I think, you know, well, Ernie has a very nice plane called the Sunbird.
Yeah.
That I think, that was also not electric, right, but you converted it?
Correct.
Yeah. So there's a lot of gliders out there right now, old kits and that.
I think it's making
fly
a
very
comeback.
well.
Yeah.
They're not bad planes. You know, I'm not trying to say the Gentle Lady's
No,
the best
no.
one or anything.
There's
It's
all
just a
kinds out
decent
there.
one.
I'll tell you what,
It's one that's popular, but if you dig up the plans and get the wingspan, and we can get roughly a weight thing.
Yeah.
We can size them,
Everything's
motor
in
and
there.
everything for you.
It shows everything what you need for it. Batteries, motor.
Yeah, motor, speed
I don't
control.
know how old these plans are, but they look brand new.
Yeah.
It looks I got 5 of them, I think.
Like I said, the motor system isn't that expensive.
No.
You can go and buy expensive motor systems, but if you go to you know, what I'd call more of a discount
I'll give you
place, Value Hobbies is one that I like because it's local and you can actually go pick up the stuff. So you don't have to pay shipping. But you can also, you know, go buy really fancy, expensive motors
Oh,
and
yeah.
speed controllers and but you don't need that for this. That's what's nice, is you can keep it simple. You can actually bring your power, you know, gasser out and at the same time bring this out. And when you want to relax, you fly this a little bit, right? I mean, that's actually when I flew pattern, we used to actually have an event at night called, because we'd a lot of times camp at the site, called night gliders. We put glow sticks on the 2 ends of these things and we would fly them at night. And that was a blast. And believe it or not, 2 glow sticks on this thing and it was easy to fly. I'll let Ernie talk.
No, I was going, it's crazy.
Oh, it's crazy. I thought you wanted me to speed up. I thought it was afraid. I thought you were talking. I was taking too much of your time.
No, that's quite interesting.
Can we point the laptop camera down? Because I'm gonna put some stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done, unless there's other questions or, you know, I can talk forever on this, but I'm done. You know.
I had to know.
I ain't the only one.
I'd like to be a total.